English Bible NIV 영어성경 1. Kings 46 열왕기상 1. Kings 4. 1. So King Solomon ruled over all Israel. 2. And these were his chief officials: Azariah son of Zadok, the priest. 3. Elihoreph and Ahijah, sons of Shisha, secretaries; Jehoshaphat son of Ahilud, recorder. 4. Benaiah son of Jehoiada, commander-in-chief; Zadok and Abiathar, priests. 5. Azariah son of Nathan, in charge of the district officers; Zabud son of Nathan, a priest and personal advisor to the king. 6. Ahishar, in charge of the palace; Adoniram son of Abda, in charge of forced labor. 7. Solomon also had 12 district governors over all Israel, who supplied provisions for the king and the royal household. Each one had to provide supplies for 1 month in the year. 8. These are their names: Ben-Hur, in the hill country of Ephraim. 9. Ben-Deker, in Makaz, Shalbim, Beth-Shemesh and Elon Bethhanan. 10. Ben-Hesed, in Arubath Soko, and all the land of Hepher were his. 11. Ben-Abinadab, in Naphath Dor; he was married to Taphath, daughter of Solomon. 12. Bana son of Ahilud, in Tanakh and Megiddo, and in all of Beth-Shan next to Zarethan below Jezreel, from Beth-Shan to Abel-Mahala across to Jokmeam. 13. Ben-Jeber, in Ramoth-Gilead; the settlements of Jair son of Manasseh in Gilead were his, as well as the district of Argob in Bashan and its 60 large walled cities with bronze gate bars. 14. Ahinadab son of Iddo, in Mahanaim. 15. Ahimaaz, in Naphtali; he had married Basemath, daughter of Solomon. 16. Bana son of Hushai, in Asher and in Aloth. 17. Jehoshaphat son of Peruah, in Issachar. 18. Shimei son of Elah, in Benjamin. 19. Jeber son of Uri, in Gilead, the country of Sihon king of the Amorites and the country of Og king of Bashan. He was the only governor over the district. 20. The people of Judah and Israel were as numerous as the sand on the seashore; they ate, they drank, and they were happy. 21. And Solomon ruled over all the kingdoms from the river to the land of the Philistines, as far as the border of Egypt. These countries brought tribute and were Solomon's subjects all his life. 22. Solomon's daily provisions were 30 cores of fine flour and 60 cores of meal. 23.10 head of stall-fed cattle, 20 of pasture-fed cattle, and 100 sheep and goats, as well as deer, gazelles, roebucks and choice fowl. 24. For he ruled over all the kingdoms west of the river, from Tifsa to Gaza, and had peace on all sides. 25. During Solomon's lifetime Judah and Israel, from Dan to Beersheba, lived in safety, each man under his own vine and fig tree. 26. Solomon had 4,000 stalls for chariot horses, and 12,000 horses. 27. The district officers, each in his month, supplied provisions for King Solomon and all who came to the king's table. They saw to it that nothing was lacking. 28. They also brought to the proper place their quotas of barley and straw for the chariot horses and the other horses. 29. God gave Solomon wisdom and very great insight, and a breadth of understanding as measureless as the sand on the seashore. 30. Solomon's wisdom was greater than the wisdom of all the men of the East, and greater than all the wisdom of Egypt. 31. He was wiser than any other man, including Ethan the Ezrahite, wiser than Heman, Calcol and Darda, the sons of Mahol. And his fame spread to all the surrounding nations. 32. He spoke 3,000 proverbs and his songs numbered 1,005. 33. He described plant life, from the cedar of Lebanon to the hyssop that grows out of walls. He also taught about animals and birds, reptiles and fish. 34. Men of all nations came to listen to Solomon's wisdom, sent by all the kings of the world, who had heard of his wisdom. 1. Kings 5. 1. When Hiram king of Tyre heard that Solomon had been anointed king to succeed his father David, he sent his envoys to Solomon, because he had always been on friendly terms with David. 2. Solomon sent back this message to Hiram. 3. You know that because of the wars waged against my father David from all sides, he could not build a temple for the name of the Lord his God until the Lord put his enemies under his feet. 4. But now the Lord my God has given me rest on every side, and there is no adversary or disaster. 5. I intend, therefore, to build a temple for the name of the Lord my God. As the Lord told my father David, when he said, 'Your son whom I will put on the throne in your place will build the temple for my name.' 6. So give orders that cedars of Lebanon be cut for me. My men will work with yours, and I will pay you for your men whatever wages you set. You know that we have no one so skilled in felling timber as the Sidonians." 7. When Hiram heard Solomon's message, he was greatly pleased and said, "Praise be to the Lord today. For he has given David a wise son to rule over this great nation." 8. So Hiram sent word to Solomon, "I have received the message you sent me and will do all you want in providing the cedar and pine logs. 9 My men will haul them down from Lebanon to the sea, and I will float them in rafts by sea to the place you specify. There I will separate them and you can take them away. And you are to grant my wish by providing food for my royal household." 10. In this way Hiram kept Solomon supplied with all the cedar and pine logs he wanted. 11. And Solomon gave Hiram 20,000 cores of wheat as food for his household, in addition to 20,000 baths of pressed olive oil. Solomon continued to do this for Hiram year after year. 12. The Lord gave Solomon wisdom, just as he had promised him. There were peaceful relations between Hiram and Solomon, and the two of them made a treaty. 13. King Solomon conscripted laborers from all Israel, 30,000 men. 14. He sent them off to Lebanon in shifts of 10,000 a month, so that they spent 1 month in Lebanon and 2 months at home. Adoniram was in charge of the forced labor. 15. Solomon had 70,000 carriers and 80,000 stonecutters in the hills. 16. As well as 3,300 foremen who supervised the project and directed the workmen. 17. At the king's command they removed from the quarry large blocks of quality stone to provide a foundation of dressed stone for the temple. 18. The craftsmen of Solomon and Hiram and the men of Gebal cut and prepared the timber and stone for the building of the temple. 1 Kings 6. 1. In the 480th year after the Israelites had come out of Egypt, in the 4th year of Solomon's reign over Israel, in the month of Ziv, the 2nd month, he began to build the temple of the Lord. 2. The temple that King Solomon built for the Lord was 60 cubits long, 20 wide and 30 high. 3. The portico at the front of the main hall of the temple extended the width of the temple, that is 20 cubits, and projected 10 cubits from the front of the temple. 4. He made narrow clerestory windows in the temple. 5. Against the walls of the main hall and inner sanctuary he built a structure around the building, in which there were side rooms. 6. The lowest floor was 5 cubits wide, the middle floor 6 cubits and the third floor 7. He made offset ledges around the outside of the temple so that nothing would be inserted into the temple walls. 7. In building the temple, only blocks dressed at the quarry were used, and no hammer, chisel or any other iron tool was heard at the temple site while it was being built. 8. The entrance to the lowest floor was on the south side of the temple. A stairway led up to the middle level and from there to the third. 9. So he built the temple and completed it, roofing it with beams and cedar planks. 10. And he built the side rooms all along the temple. The height of each was 5 cubits, and they were attached to the temple by beams of cedar. 11. The word of the Lord came to Solomon. 12. As for this temple you are building, if you follow my decrees, carry out my regulations and keep all my commands and obey them, I will fulfill through you the promise I gave to David your father. 13. And I will live among the Israelites and will not abandon my people Israel. 14. So Solomon built the temple and completed it. 15. He lined its interior walls with cedar boards, paneling them from the floor of the temple to the ceiling, and covered the floor of the temple with planks of pine. 16. He partitioned off 20 cubits at the rear of the temple, with cedar boards from floor to ceiling to form within the temple an inner sanctuary, the most holy place. 17. The main hall in front of this room was 40 cubits long. 18. The inside of the temple was cedar, carved with gourds and open flowers. Everything was cedar, no stone was to be seen. 19. He prepared the inner sanctuary within the temple to set the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord there. 20. The inner sanctuary was 20 cubits long, 20 wide and 20 high. He overlaid the inside with pure gold, and he also overlaid the altar of cedar. 21. Solomon covered the inside of the temple with pure gold, and he extended gold chains across the front of the inner sanctuary, which was overlaid with gold. 22. So he overlaid the whole interior with gold. He also overlaid with gold the altar that belonged to the inner sanctuary. 23. In the inner sanctuary he made a pair of cherubim of olive wood, each 10 cubits high. 24. One wing of the first cherub was 5 cubits long, and the other wing 5 cubits, 10 cubits from wing tip to wing tip. 25. The second cherub also measured 10 cubits, for the 2 cherubim were identical in size and shape. 26. The height of each cherub was 10 cubits. 27. He placed the cherubim inside the innermost room of the temple, with their wings spread out. The wing of one cherub touched one wall, while the wing of the other touched the other wall, and their wings touched each other in the middle of the room. 28. He overlaid the cherubim with gold. 29. On the walls all around the temple, in both the inner and outer rooms, he carved cherubim, palm trees and open flowers. 30. He also covered the floors of both the inner and outer rooms of the temple with gold. 31. For the entrance of the inner sanctuary he made doors of olive wood with 5-sided jambs. 32. And on the 2 olive wood doors he carved cherubim, palm trees and open flowers, and overlaid the cherubim and palm trees with beaten gold. 33. In the same way he made 4-sided jambs of olive wood for the entrance to the main hall. 34. He also made 2 pine doors, each having 2 leaves that turned in sockets. 35. He carved cherubim, palm trees and open flowers on them and overlaid them with gold hammered evenly over the carvings. 36. And he built the inner courtyard of 3 courses of dressed stone and 1 course of trimmed cedar beams. 37. The foundation of the temple of the Lord was laid in the 4th year, in the month of Ziv. 38. In the 11th year in the month of Bul, the 8th month, the temple was finished in all its details according to its specifications. He had spent 7 years building it.